Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Bible in a Year with Lovie. We're on day 38 today, I think. 31. Yeah, we're on day 38. We're starting with Leviticus today. I'm still not really feeling all that great. My vision's kind of blurry, so it's going to take a lot for me to get through this. But I've got God on my side. I know I'm going to make it through this. Y'all just please keep me lifted up in prayer. Migraines are really hard to navigate. So I'm just praying that it eases up soon. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do Leviticus 1 through 3. And then we're going to flip over to Matthew chapter 24. We're reading the Life Application Study Bible, 3rd edition, the New Living Translation. So if y'all are ready, let's go ahead and dive right into the Word. Leviticus chapter 1. The Lord called to Moses from the tabernacle and said to him, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel when you present an animal as an offering to the Lord." To the people of Israel. When you present an animal as an offering to the Lord, you may take it from your herd of cattle or your flock of sheep and goats. If the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the herd, it must be a male with no defects. Bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle so you may be accepted by the Lord. Lay your hand on the animal's head, and the Lord will accept its death in your place to purify you, making you right with him. Then slaughter the young bull in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priest, will present the animal's blood by splattering it against all sides of the altar that stands at the entrance to the tabernacle. Then skin the animal and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, will build a wood fire on the altar. They will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and fat, on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the flock, it may be either a sheep or a goat, but it must be a male with no defects. Slaughter the animal on the north side of the altar in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priest, will splatter its blood against all sides of the altar. Then cut the animal in pieces, and the priest will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and fat, on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If you present a bird as a burnt offering to the Lord, choose either a turtle dove or a young pigeon. The priest will take the bird to the altar, wring off its head, and burn it on the altar. But first he must drain its blood against the side of the altar. The priest must also remove the crop and the feathers and throw them in the ashes in the east side of the altar. Then, grasping the bird by its wings, the priest will tear the bird open, but without tearing it apart. Then he will burn it as a burnt offering on the wood burning on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to God, to the Lord. Yeah, some of this stuff is pretty graphic. But, the Old Testament was really gangster. Like, even the sacrificial part was pretty rough, clearly. But, okay, chapter 2. When you present grain as an offering to the Lord, the offering must consist of choice flour. You are to pour olive oil on it, sprinkle it with frankincense, and bring it to Aaron's sons, the priests. The priest will scoop out a handful of the flour moistened with oil together with all the frankincense and burn this representative portion on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering will then be given to Aaron and his sons. This offering will be considered a most holy part of the special gifts presented to the Lord. If your offering is a grain offering baked in an oven, it must be made of choice flour, but without any yeast. It may be presented in the form of thin cakes mixed with olive oil or wafers spread with olive oil. If your grain offering is cooked on a griddle, it must be made of choice flour mixed with olive oil but without any yeast. Break it in pieces and pour olive oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your grain offering is prepared in a pan, it must be made of choice flour and olive oil. No matter how a grain offering for the Lord has been prepared, bring it to the priest, who will present it at the altar. The priest will take the representative portion of the grain offering and burn it on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering will then be given to Aaron and his sons as their food. This offering will be considered a most holy part of the special gifts presented to the Lord. Do not use yeast in preparing any of the grain offerings you present to the Lord, because no yeast or honey may be burned as a special gift presented to the Lord. You may add yeast and honey to an offering of the first crops of your harvest, but these must never be offered on the altar as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Season all your grain offerings with salt to remind you of God's eternal covenant. Never forget to add salt to your grain offerings. If you present a grain offering to the Lord from the first portion of your harvest, bring fresh grain that is coarsely ground and roasted on a fire. Put olive oil on this grain offering and sprinkle it with frankincense. The priest will take a representative portion of the grain moistened with oil together with all the frankincense and burn it as a special gift presented to the Lord. If you present an animal from the herd as a peace offering to the Lord, it may be a male or a female, but it must have no defects. Lay your hand on the animal's head and slaughter it at the entrance of the tabernacle. Then Aaron's sons, the priest, will splatter its blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present part of this peace offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and Aaron's sons will burn them on top of the burnt offering on the wood burning on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If you present an animal from the flock as a peace offering to the Lord, it may be a male or a female, but it must have no defects. If you present a sheep as your offering, bring it to the Lord, lay your hand on its head, and slaughter it in front of the tabernacle. Aaron's sons will then splatter the sheep's blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present the fat of this peace offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes the fat of the broad tail cut off near the neck of the backbone, all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and the priest will burn them on the altar. It's a special gift of food presented to the Lord. If you present a goat as your offering, bring it to the Lord. Lay your hand on its head and slaughter it in front of the tabernacle. Aaron's sons will then splatter the goat's blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present part of this offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and the priest will burn them on the altar. It is a special gift of food, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. All the fat belongs to the Lord. You must never eat any fat or blood. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. And how you get that steak cooked again? Just saying. I'm just saying. I like my steaks to be pretty rare. So, I mean, but that's still eating blood. So, I guess maybe I should move to medium rare where at least it's not, straight cut and just barely seared on each side. I don't eat fat though. I don't like fat. I don't like the texture of it. It tastes nasty. Well, it feels nasty in my mouth. But I am definitely one who likes my steak cooked rare. But it says right here, you must never eat any fat or blood. It's a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation, wherever you live. So just because I live in Texas and I'm a United States citizen and we like our steaks barely warm on each side, doesn't give me permission to eat it like that. So, yeah. Alright. We are going to Matthew. Oh, sorry, y'all. Today's a struggle. And we're gonna make it through. It's just it's a struggle. Y'all just keep me lifted up, please. Y'all pray with me. I'll pray with y'all. Matthew chapter 24. We're going to read it about halfway through. We're going to read down to verse 28. So if y'all are ready, here we go. Matthew chapter 24. As Jesus was leaving the temple grounds, his disciples pointed out to him the various temple buildings. But he responded, "Do you see all these buildings? I tell you the truth, they will be completely demolished. Not one stone will be left on top of another." Excuse me. Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and said, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What sign will signal your return and the end of the world?" Jesus told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic." Look, don't panic. Yes, there's wars going on already. You got people on YouTube talking about we in the last days, and we may well be in the last days, but nobody knows. We about to see. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. Nation will go to war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. But all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You will be hated all over the world because you are my followers. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures till the end will be saved. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it. And then the end will come. I mean, there's been wars going on for a long time. Kingdom against kingdom. There's been famines. There's been COVID-19. National shortages of everything. Sin is already rampant everywhere. And there's not a lot of love in the world anymore. There's actually a whole lot of hate. And there are a lot of false prophets. There are a lot. But you got to ask God for discernment. I'm not about to point nobody out. God has to give you the discernment for you to know not to continue following those people. Like, I used to have favorite preachers that I listened to regularly. And then God started like showing me things. Now, granted, God can use even things that didn't come from Him for the good. In fact, He will make it for the good of those who are called according to His purpose. So I'm just saying, like, I used to listen to certain preachers on YouTube or on whatever platform, and then God started showing me things about them and how they did their ministries, and how, I'd be reading something and about like when Jesus came in and flipped the tables, like there are preachers who instantly get on and start trying to sell you a book, or, it's all about money. Like, everybody's really greedy nowadays, and Jesus went with that. Like, you don't turn my Father's temple into a... Well, I mean, we read that already. Like, you don't... What are you doing? Anyways, God took me away from those preachers, those misleaders, those false prophets. And now I follow... I go to church in Quinlan, Texas, at Encounter. I love my preacher and his wife. They're awesome. I also was going to church in Mount Vernon at the Help Church. I love that preacher too, Devin Dawes. He's a great preacher. Like, God definitely speaks through him. But my online, I love Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell from 2819 Church. Like, he will step on your toes. I love that he don't mind hurting your feelings as long as he's teaching the word. Like, he is a great teacher of the word, and it was such an honor to get to see him in person recently. But like, he teaches the word exactly how it's supposed to be. Anyways, I got off subject. A lot of the things that Jesus was talking about, we already see, though. So, that was my point. Verse 15. The day is coming when you will see what Daniel the prophet spoke about. The sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing in the holy place. It says, reader, pay attention. Let's see. Let's see if it says anything about what the sacrilegious object is. Okay. So, because this is a study Bible, so let's just dig a little deeper into that. The sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing in the holy place. So it says, what was the sacrilegious object that causes desecration? mentioned by both Daniel and Jesus. Rather than one specific object, event, or person, it can be seen as any deliberate attempt to mock and deny the reality of God's presence. Daniel's prediction came true in 168 BC when Antiochus Epiphanes sacrificed a pig to Zeus on the sacred temple altar. Jesus' words were remembered in AD 70 when Titus placed an idol on the site of the burned temple after destroying Jerusalem. In the end times, the Antichrist will set up an image of himself and order everyone to worship it. These are all abominations to God. Okay, that's good to know. Verse 16. Then those in Judea must flee to the hills. A person out on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return even to get a coat. How terrible it will be for pregnant women and for nursing mothers in those days. And pray that your flight will not be in winter or on the Sabbath, for there will be greater anguish than at any time since the world began. And it will never be so great again. In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. But it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. Then if anyone tells you, look, here is the Messiah, or there he is, don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform great signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. See, I have warned you about this ahead of time. So if someone tells you, look, the Messiah is out in the desert, don't bother to go and look. Or, look, he's hiding here, don't believe it. For as the lightning flashes in the east and shines to the west, so it will be when the Son of Man comes. Just as the gathering of vultures shows there is a carcass nearby, so these signs indicate that the end is near. Okay. Well, that's all for today, guys. We'll pick up tomorrow in Leviticus chapter 4. We'll read 4 and 5, and we'll finish Matthew chapter 24. Man, I really do love you guys. I'm praying for y'all. Y'all please keep me in your prayers. Remember, guys, that dang, I lost my thoughts. My head hurts so bad. If you want to see a change, you have to be the change. We lead by example. We follow by design. If it ain't a God thing, it ain't a good thing. Now, y'all go out and have a wonderful, blessed day. And remember to love like Jesus.